All right, today we're jumping into a story that is, well, it's so out there. The person who actually lived it was too scared to tell a soul. And honestly, you're about to understand exactly why. And that really gets to the core of it, doesn't it? This quote, it just perfectly frames a story that you can't just explain away. It's deeply personal, it's incredibly bizarre, and it all kicked off on what was supposed to be a totally normal, uneventful night. Okay, so let's paint the picture here. Imagine this. You're in Central Texas. It's the middle of a hot summer. Our narrator is home all by themselves for the night. Their partner's away, and everything is just normal, Totally ordinary, until all of a sudden it just isn't. So the very first thing that shatters that sense of normal is this feeling. And I'm not talking about just being a little chilly. No, this is a deep, bone-chilling cold. The kind that just makes no sense on a Texas summer night, especially when you're already bundled up in blankets. It's the first real red flag that something is really, really wrong in the house. So your first thought is obvious, right? The power must be out. But then you look outside, and nope. The neighbor's lights are on just fine. The whole grid is working. This outage is somehow just isolated to their house. And then comes another creepy detail. The cats, who are normally right there, are just gone, vanished. And what's really wild is just how fast all of this escalates. I mean, look at this timeline. We're talking about a matter of minutes here. In just a couple of minutes, they go from waking up cold to realizing the power's out, the cats are gone, and, things are about to get a whole lot weirder. So as they get closer to the stairs, this sound starts up. And it's definitely not your furnace or the fridge kicking on. The way they describe it is so specific. A high-pitched hum with these random low pulses. And that comparison to a muffled weed whacker, man, that really paints a picture of something mechanical but also totally unnatural and erratic. This is where the vibe shifts from just weird to genuinely terrifying. And here it is, the climax of the whole event. At the bottom of the stairs, they can just make out a dim light and this dark figure moving slowly. But the very next step they take leads to nothing. Just a complete and total loss of all sensation. It's not like falling, it's not fainting, it's like someone literally just unplugged them from reality. And that's it. The next thing they remember is their alarm going off the next morning. Okay, so now it's the morning after. You wake up and your first thought has to be, wow, what a seriously messed up dream. The cats are back, the power is on, everything seems normal. But that nagging feeling, that feeling that it was real, it's still there. So they start looking for evidence, and oh boy, what they find is a trail of clues you just can't ignore. The evidence is just baffling. It's like a crime scene with no criminal. The security system, disarmed. The logs for the front door show it was opened and closed multiple times. But here's the real kicker. The security footage is just gone. A total blank. And not just from their cameras, but from the neighbors too. A complete gap in the record. And that red truck parked all weird? Yep, it shows up on the footage from after the time gap, proving it was really there. This was no dream. But of all the strange clues left behind, this next one might be the most mind-bending of all. 40+ gallons. Just think about that number. That is a huge amount of, well, what exactly? It's water. Over 40 gallons of water just gone from a 55-gallon fish tank sitting right at the bottom of the stairs. We're talking 2/3 of the water, poof, vanished. And there's no spill, no puddle, no water damage anywhere. The floor is bone dry. The fish are totally fine, just swimming around in a lot less water. I mean, there is just no normal everyday explanation for that. None. And then there's the last piece of the puzzle. And this one's all about the senses. A really distinct smell is clinging to the narrator's body. It's not smoke. It's something sweet and burnt, almost like marshmallows. It seems so random, right? But as you'll see, this little detail is actually a super crucial part of the whole pattern. All right, so there's the story. We've got this deeply unsettling personal experience, followed by a bunch of physical clues that just shouldn't be possible. So now, let's zoom out. Let's start connecting these dots and see how these seemingly random details actually fit into a much bigger pattern of weird phenomena that people have been reporting for decades. And this is where it gets really interesting, because the individual pieces start to click into place. Those dead electronics? That lines up perfectly with reports of intense electromagnetic interference, something that gets talked about a lot with alleged UAP propulsion systems. The missing time and the paralysis? That's a textbook element of classic abduction stories. And even that weird burnt marshmallow smell and the mysterious red truck, they have direct parallels in other famous cases, like the Travis Walton incident and the Stephenville sightings. Now, to add another wrinkle to that whole red truck thing, there's a set of theories out there known as MILAB. That's military abduction. The idea is that these events aren't alien at all, but are actually secret military or government ops using super advanced tech. And in those stories, you often hear about unmarked vehicles, just like that truck, being part of the whole thing, maybe as ground support or just observers. It's just one more potential layer to this. So what are we left with? What does all of this add up to? Well, when you pull all these individual threads together, what you get is a fantastic example of what paranormal investigators call high strangeness. It's not just one weird thing happening, it's a whole bunch of impossible things all happening at once. So let's just recap the key indicators here. Any one of these by itself is super weird, right? A power outage that only affects your house, a massive amount of water disappearing without a trace, missing security footage from multiple cameras. But when you get all of them happening together in the same night to the same person, you've got a case that is just checking off an incredible number of boxes for a high strangeness event. And that's really what makes this story so powerful. It's the sheer density of all these classic paranormal calling cards, all packed into one single night. It's honestly like a greatest hits album of high strangeness, and it all happened to one person in the span of just a few hours. And that really brings us full circle, right back to where we started. It leaves us with a lingering question. If this happened to you, if you were faced with something so completely unexplainable, where your only evidence is a lack of evidence, what would you do? Would you risk people thinking you're crazy and tell someone, or would you just lock it away and try to forget it ever happened? It's something to think about for sure.